Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. We are going to be talking about a crazy weather pattern that is setting up across the United States. A lot of activity, a lot of storms, a lot of flooding potential, monsoon season kicking up. We have a lot to unpack, so let's jump right into it. What I have pulled up here is a jet stream of the lower levels, and this tells us where how strong the jet stream is based on these colors, and also you could tell which direction it is because of these little black arrows that are on it. But basically, I want to use this as a graphic to show you guys how you can tell where the moisture is being transported from. So notice, right now, the jet streaks, which is the little areas in the jet stream where the wind speeds are stronger, are currently situated across the southwestern United States. And with that comes the moisture. And you can see that this is causing our pattern to be conducive of these complex thunderstorms that are occurring across the west, southwest, and then pushing into the eastern United States during the day. And we will have this over and over and over again across very similar areas. It also means that the severe weather is going to be a pretty much daily occurrence across the southern and central United States. With that source of moisture coming in and streaming in from the south-southwest, our severe weather, this is the Storm Prediction Center, which highlights which area of the United States is under the greatest risk for severe weather on any given day. This is for today, Thursday, June 5th. And you can see that the slight weather risk is mainly across Texas, the Texas Panhandle, Oklahoma, southeastern, southwestern Kansas, southeastern Colorado, and eastern portions of New Mexico. And you could also see that we have a really stretched out cold front providing a little bit of severe weather threats all the way into the Northeast and New England. This mainly includes the threats of wind and hail. While tornadoes are possible, they aren't going to be the main concern here. This is now the severe weather risk for June 6th, so Friday, and you can see that the little yellow colored area has shifted further towards the east, as well as that marginal, that darker green, covers quite a bit of the United States. And again, the main threats would be wind and hail. I want to go back now to the precipitation map. This is the European model, so it is one of the two models that I like to use for long-range forecasting. The other one is the GFS. And you can see that for the next little good while, mainly into this weekend, we will continue seeing this flow of moisture from the west and into the east. And during the day, we will see these little flare-ups of thunderstorms, showers, until around Sunday of this upcoming weekend, we see a system that is going to be spinning across Saskatchewan and Manitoba, and this will provide a little bit of a front that kind of sweeps some of this moisture away and focuses it more towards the deeper south, and the orientation becomes more north to south oriented. As you can see that these clusters that develop during the day, simulated here on Monday of June 9th, begin shifting more towards the south as they go throughout the day versus west to east. Here is a map now of the precipitation that is forecasted by the European model just through this upcoming next Tuesday. And you can see that some of these rainfall amounts, I almost said snowfall amounts, some of these rainfall amounts across Oklahoma, Arkansas, Missouri will be approaching 2, 3, 4 inches. And of course, where thunderstorms occur, especially if they train over the same areas, we could easily be experiencing in some places 6 inches or more of rainfall, which is already falling on top of soils that are very wet, especially across some regions of southern Missouri, and the Ozarks have been receiving a lot of rain this spring, and this pattern is set to continue. Now notice that actually if I extend this further out into the time frame into middle part of June, this continues lighting up with different colors because the rainfall will continue. And this is what I mean by a crazy pattern. We will be experiencing a lot of activity. On the temperature side of things, we will be looking at a pattern that has been very continuous through this spring, and that includes a lobe of cooler air centered across the central United States with warmer air pretty much all around it. You can see that the west will be very nice and toasty. Canada also temperatures being way above average. However, the Midwest stuck with this cooler air, and with that little system that could be coming in this upcoming weekend, which provides that sweeping cold front that I talked about earlier that shifts some of that moisture north to south, comes another lobe of cool air. So cities like Chicago, Des Moines, Iowa, Minneapolis, Milwaukee, and some of these anomalies may extend even 10 to 15 degrees Celsius below average, while the West will be absolutely baking in some incredibly hot temperatures, particularly in the northwestern United States. Cities like Seattle, the temperature anomalies are going to be 10 to 15 degrees above average. The Northwest will be experiencing temperatures up to 100 degrees, if not more, especially across some of the western inland areas of Washington and Oregon, which, for the South, this may not be crazy, but look at the contrast between the Midwest and the West. While cities like Chicago will be in the 50s and 60s, Indianapolis 70, we will be having potentially Oregon, Portland in the 80s to even potentially 90s, which for the Northwest speaks volumes. I want to now take a look at the longer range temperature outlook using the GEFS, which is an ensemble that lets me go out to 800 hours on tropical tidbits. And you can see that what it shows into June and even into July is that persistent cool air across the Midwest. Now, it does seem to weaken the signals, at least further out, and some warmer air stepping in. But the further out we go, you can see it kind of steps back in. I would place my bets on heat continuing across the western United States and southern Canada and the Northwest, while being slightly chillier, especially in a central portion of the United States. In terms of moisture, we also can look at, I like looking at the 7-day total precipitation anomaly because this shows us where areas are wetter, where are drier, based on a weekly average. And notice that right now we are really wet across the south, the east, with that continuous flow from the southwest. But as I push this into the further time frame, it dries out across the south, and we see that wetter pattern shift further into the Midwest and north of where we are seeing it now. So that could indicate also warmer air shifting further up north, as usually in the summer with warmer air comes more precipitation. However, for now, that wraps up today's video. As you can see right now, the National Weather Service Weather Ready Nation map with all the alerts and watches is pretty quiet. We do have quite a few river flood warnings and flood watches and flood advisories, but this will definitely start filling in with more colors as we see more severe weather, more storms, and more flooding potential. So stay tuned, guys. I will be now making more uploads as we get into the summer and especially fall and winter season. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you would consider subscribing, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.